Everything you need is already inside of you. The world would not be what it is without you. When we begin to create change within us, we begin to create change in the world around us. Your journey to becoming your best self as the whole person starts right now.
Hello and welcome to the Become Your Best podcast and webinar series. I'm your host and our vice president here at Rise Up For You. I'm going to introduce our guest today. He comes to us all the way from the Netherlands. Robert Overweg is going to talk to us today about our mindset, the ability to adapt in this ever-changing world. He and his team empower people to develop their own adaptable mindset, to develop mental flexibility, which after the last few years we have seen is so needed and necessary. He's going to talk with us about learning how to create mental space to find new possibilities, new creativities. In our rapidly changing world, we keep feeling the impact of unpredictable events to which we have to adapt. Robert and his team teaches us how adaptability helps you feel empowered and finding new perspectives. His Adaptable Mindset program has been applied at several Fortune 500 companies like Chanel and Heineken and multiple SMEs and innovative schools. They have also supported over thousands of students and solopreneurs with their online program. Won't we all want a more adaptable and calm mind to deal with information overload and be able to keep our sanity in an always on world? Robert, welcome to our podcast. We're excited to have you on today.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Lauren. Wonderful.
Absolutely. So how did you get into the science of the mind, into the adaptability, which is so needed? Were you doing that pre-pandemic as well? Were you kind of intuitive in the necessity of this ever-changing world, or is this a newer adventure for you?
I think we've been working on this I think the thinking has been going on for over a decade, and we've been actively pursuing this for 5 to 6 years. So it was pre-pandemic,
Yeah.
and it came to fruition because I saw so many people within large organizations, universities, which did not really have the ability to think for themselves, come up with their own thoughts, adapt, be open to new ideas. And I was like, and that results in that people get stuck in positions, like they get grumpy and they don't live their life to the fullest. And I was like, guys, this is totally not necessary. Why are we doing this? And that's the reason why we started with this, developing this methodology.
I was so intrigued in a couple of your different kind of phrases and things that you focus on. How do we keep our sanity, A, and how do we do it when we always feel like we have to be on? Will you talk more about that?
Yeah, so I have the feeling that I always need to be off. So almost the complete opposite. And in the intro, you already mentioned, I am able to work with high profile clients, while I still have the ability to remain off, exercise, create mental space, go for walks, take care of my inspiration, imagination. Because if you're just constantly consuming content, if you're constantly just reacting to what other people are sending out to you, then you will get just superficial thoughts. It's very superficial ideas, superficial reactions, but we also need time for deep thoughts and for just exploring and letting our mind wander. Who still has the ability to let their mind wander? Because when we feel that their mind wanders, then there comes the phone, and then we look at that thing again. And if you so it's about breaking those habits. It's about finding replacements. It's about creating structure in your week, in your days, where you do take that mental space, where you do take that walk without a podcast, without music, without etc., where you wake up without your phone, where you don't plan your entire day back to back with meetings. And for some people it sounds impossible, but it is actually possible. And the best thing to do is take this step by step. So we've got an entire list that we can share as well, with 20 different hacks, small things that you can do, and just Pick up one hack every week, see how it works for you, and then if it doesn't work, stop doing it, and then find another one, and just keep on experimenting and stacking and gradually creating more mental space. So yeah, that you can also create more space for creativity and for mental wandering and for imagination.
Mm, so good. I can relate, to the it feeling impossible sometimes, either not to be productive, quote unquote. And I love the saying or the thought that rest is productive, and shifting my mentality around, well, I have to be doing something, then I'll get more done, then I'll be
Yeah,
farther along. And the
yeah.
opposite is true, but it's really for me been a challenging retraining of my brain. Have you
Mhm.
found that for most of your clients as well?
Yeah, most companies, most organizations, it is back-to-back meetings. Everyone is always stressed. But actually, if you look at, some of the entrepreneurs who most people look up to, for example, Steve Jobs was known for taking very long walks and procrastinating, and letting his subconscious mind wander. Or if we look at Einstein, for example, he was known for sailing for 3 to 4 hours, processing the day, but also playing violin. And we see it in even the founding father of artificial intelligence. He was known for juggling and riding his unicycle. So all these people have modalities, ways to create mental space, to disconnect, so you can decompartmentalize all your thoughts and sort of resynthesize with everything again. And I think if you are able to do that in this society, then man, you have an advantage because everyone else isn't able to do so. Everyone else is just copying what all the other organizations are doing and then putting that on the backlog as user stories instead of developing their own vision and developing their own reality. And for that, yeah, you need first input and then you need to take a lot of space to let that process. So yeah, to your point, we do see that, but we also see in high performance and high performer entrepreneurs and scientists that the opposite is also true. That people do take care and take time. Or the Sundar Pichai, the CEO from Google, he wakes up with his tea ritual and then with his paper newspaper. So no technology for a very long while. Even in an interview, he was asked, "So you don't use your Google Home?" And he was like, "Haha, no." And he was like, "Oh crap! I said I don't even use it." Um, so yeah, technology is great, but it's also great to be able to keep it out of the door a bit and to let your give your own mind space.
Yeah, so good. Whenever I charge my phone by my bed, I'm definitely gonna scroll. I'm gonna look at my
Mhm.
Instagram. If I charge it in the kitchen, I'm way less likely. I'm not going to get out of bed and walk over and,
Mhm.
see what's going on. Same thing. I'll even, sleep without my Apple Watch on, for example, so that
Mhm.
again, I'm not as tempted. So talk to me about when you go into a company. We have both executives, company owners, entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, the variety that listen to our show. When
Mhm.
you go into a company, how do you get the executives to be open to not a fully stacked day? How do you change that culture if perhaps you're an employee or a leader in the company, but you're not the owner?
Yeah. Um, Let me understand. Let me see if I understand the question correctly. So, I talk, for example, with a CTO, CIO, or CEO, and then yeah, but that not everyone wants to participate in that change. Is that the
Yeah,
question?
especially if it's the executives. Let's say that they don't want to participate. How do you, for example, you said have made changes with Heineken, for example.
Hmm.
Sometimes there's resistance from certain leaders, or how do you then create sustainable organizational change? Do you talk about the ROI? Do you talk about the creativity and the output and the burnout and how you're going to save employees, from leaving the company, for example? The retention will be higher.
Hmm.
How do you convince, if that's the word you'd use,
Yeah.
some leaders that may be resistant to, not a traditional let's stack every minute and stuff every
Hmm.
moment?
Yeah. 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 So the return on investment is a story that you can tell, but um, like the connection to that is doesn't feel that direct, and also preventing burnout. Yeah. Also, that direction can feel like it's not direct while it is. So you can talk about that story, but I'd rather relate to people's individual feelings and individual experiences. So if I would talk with like sea level, then I would try to find stories where people came up with new ideas through creating the space. Or I would show that how we are currently working is that we get more of the iterative, more of the smaller types of innovation, often due to lack of space, lack of imagination. And then I'll show what other organizations are doing, which are, if you're familiar with Horizon 1, 2, and 3, they're getting Horizon 3 into one due to technology, due to a different vision, due to having the space to be able to look at the entire ecosystem. And then when we work with teams, it's actually very easy because often there the issue is that everyone is sort of waiting for permission. And we've all been doing it in a certain way, like how we work with the meetings and too much alignment. And then we talk with each other, hey, what is going well? What can we improve? And how would your ideal life look like? And it sounds maybe a bit soft and bit vague maybe, but then you start to see that hey, everyone in the same team thinks that how we have meetings is crazy. Then and everyone is like waking up to the same reality while we were all in that same reality. And then so we decided with one organization on Wednesday no meetings. Fine. And you see people, oh, what a relief, brain space. And then you can start building from there, and then you create like quick wins and you show what the results are. So there's always a way. I think there's always a way, and if there's no way, then there's always the highway. You can always. I think people will vote more and more with their feet. It's very difficult to get high quality people who also have technological skills. Like the market is pretty difficult, so you need to really treat your people well, um, and it will get you yeah, people will be happier, but also you'll get higher creativity. So it's very logical.
Absolutely. It's so good. I love that space creation. We do that here at Rise Up For You as well, where we won't do client meetings, say, for example, on a Monday or a Friday. So that, again, we have space to create, space to think,
Hmm.
space to come up with new projects, new initiatives, and that type of thinking space. I've also been retraining my brain, even just on the weekends, to turn it off, shut it down, have space and time to just
Yeah.
organize my house, which to me is enjoyable,
Hmm.
or take walks or those types of things. Talk to me about some of the favorite hacks that you have, if you will. So you talked
Hmm.
about giving space,
Hmm.
intentionally not having a packed day so that you can allow the mind to have creativity and adapt. What are other things you feel like are important for today?
Yeah. So what you also slowly and gradually see emerging is that the element of fun, play, exploration can be more and more integrated into the day. So how normally people go through the days, they wake up early, start with their phone. You could also not do that, but and then have an entire day till 5, 6, 7, maybe even of just work, of getting shit done. But you can also go for a bike ride at 2. You can also do a yoga class. So I went indoor rock climbing at what time was it? Like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Totally refreshed, energized again to do a little bit more work. And it is possible to integrate these kind of things into your day to day. Go for a little walk, do a walk and talk with your colleague. Well, when you're not on the phone. I think these things you'll see more. I think you'll need to see more and more of this with the amount of stress that people experience in organizations and the type of creativity that we now get out of people. I think, to be honest, that you can be like creative for like 3 hours a day, and the rest is doing a bit of your accounting and maybe send an email here and there. But and to be honest, 5 days a week, holy man, that is, without being connected to what energizes you, without refreshment.
Mhm.
Yeah, of course that doesn't work. It stems from the era of Henry Ford when we were all factory workers. When you were used like a gear in a big machine, and we still do that. But now the challenges are our economy and everything changes so fast. The technology changes so fast, so you need the space to think. You need the space to explore, because if your competition is doing it, you'll be out of business in a few years.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Robert, how do we find out more about your company and what you do? I know your website is the Adaptable. So www.adaptablemindset.com. What will we find there?
What you'll find there, you'll find if you go to blog tools, you'll find a lot of articles of how you can instill adaptability and openness of the mind in your organization. You'll find an online course as well, both for the individual as for the entire organization. How to create the right space for change and openness. And also, we can share a masterclass on how to create mental space, which is just a brief segment of 10 to 12 minutes with a lot of hacks, methodologies to create that space, which we can also gift for free to your audience.
Fantastic. I love that. So a masterclass on how to create that space, blogs, and more tools. Robert, we love to ask a question, and that is, what does Rise Up for You mean to you?
Good question. I think rise up means, maybe it means don't wait for permission. Step into who you want to become. Step into, the what gives you energy, and keep on moving into that direction to, follow yourself, explore that, keep on pulling on that thread of curiosity, and that can be your energy for, creating more of a beautiful world for yourself and for others.
Mm. I love that. Well, thank you for the great work that you're doing, for the energy that you give to it, and really for the last decade of allowing companies and individuals to think differently, to almost go back and take a pause and then therefore go forward.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much. Absolutely. Oh, such a needed topic today, the adaptability of our mind and using our mind as a tool. So, really love the great work that he and his team are doing. If you're interested in having more success, confidence, even business, we would love for you to consider doing power coaching with us. Did you know for as low as $149 a month, you can coach with somebody on our team here at Rise Up For You? To find out more, go to our website, riseupforyou.com, and then you will see all of our coursework, or text POWER to 949-416-0671. I'm Lauren Sweeney, and until our next podcast, Rise Up For